Hello, everybody. Welcome to everybody who's here in the chat. Welcome if you're new to my channel. If you're coming back, welcome again. I'm Natalie, and this is Scientology Life After a Cult, where I recap what's happening in Scientology news, what has the internet buzzing, as I also interject about my 35 years in Scientology, growing up in Scientology, and leaving with 3 generations of my family. I'm so happy to be here with all of you today. We have a lot to cover, all kinds of news. Emotions have been all over the place. What a week it has been. We have a lot to recap and so much more that's coming this weekend, people. We're going to talk more about this weekend, but this weekend I think is going to be crazy in all the best ways. Thank you so much to my mods who are helping out today. I know Nancy's here and my Tony. Thank you very much. I always appreciate your help. I would love it if you all would hit that subscribe button and definitely hit the like button. Help us get notifications out. Help us get the word out. I really appreciate all of the support. And I so appreciate you guys just continuing to show up each day. Because I keep saying, you keep showing up and I will keep showing up. So hello, and hello again to everybody in the chat. I see y'all coming in there. We're gonna I was kind of, at first I was thinking like, okay, what order do I want to do this in? Because there's just so many. The biggest news, of course, that we're going to talk about is DOA being freed. But first, I want to share something that also came out yesterday that I think we're going to talk about for some time. If you haven't had a chance to see it, there was so much going on with the DOA news. So I'm going to share this at the top here with the recap. If you have questions, put your question in all caps and have your question follow so we can find it easier. The super chats get started automatically, but of questions, I want to make sure we are able to answer as many as we can. So if you could do that, that'd be great. So we're going to start it off with Kelli Copter. Kelli Copter. If you are not following her, links down below to all the videos I'm going to be talking about. Kelli is so talented. I interviewed her recently and we talked about her creative process and what inspires her to put out the videos and the work she does. She does the most amazing. I feel like she's like long form capturing a recap. She has this way of putting together different pieces of one story in, 15, 20 minutes, an hour, and showing us kind of like, here's everything that happened. She dropped a video yesterday that I thought was so powerful. We're going to watch just a snippet of it. But when we're done here, if you have not seen this video, get it on your list today to watch in its entirety, because I know that we are going to be discussing it more. But let's take a look at just a snippet of it.
There seems to be some conspiracy that there's this anti-Mike Rinder hate group, and there might well be one out there somewhere, but I am definitely not in it. I am just a person who cares about this community, that wants to see the best foot forward, and I'm trying to appeal to that and ask for change. I think it would be the best decision if Mike Rinder were to step down from the Aftermath Foundation board and to apologize and fix this with Miriam. Some other issues that have come up include the diversity of the board of the Aftermath Foundation. It's made up of couples that were all executive roles in the Church of Scientology. Now, the executives are in the highest position. They're privy to lots more information than the regular SEOG members, and they would have probable knowledge of many crimes. There seems to be...
It's such a powerful video, and she includes multiple clips from different pieces of this story. Like I said, we'll talk about it more, but I wanted to get it on your radar and get it on your watch list if you have not seen it yet. She did such an amazing job. Truly. I thought it was fantastic and a great way to kind of have more of the conversation in a way. And I would encourage people to have the conversation without hate. There's a lot of strong emotions, and I'm not saying don't feel the emotions or even don't share the emotions. But when we talk about how, what is the next step? How do we get this turned around and be able to help as many people as we possibly can? That's how I see what she put out. And again, we will be talking about it more, but let's get over to the DOA news. I've got, you know what? There's so many clips from when he was released that I've got a couple that we're going to talk about because I just can't get enough of it. If you are new to this whole topic, you have a lot to catch up on. And DOA is Defender of Ants. He's been protesting Scientology and he was wrongly arrested. He was just released after 5 days in jail and the charges have been dropped. We're going to learn more, hear more, and all of that, I'm sure. But take a look at the moment when he was released from jail last night. So much love.
I made on time when you got out. When me and Danny were getting transported, this guy saw his ass off the side. I'm ready to go over to the restroom. Yeah! That's right! You had to go to Hollywood Station to get your stuff?
It was so amazing. And he says there, I think he says he's ready to go over and protest again, which is just amazing because he literally just walked out of jail there. There's a creator and there's a link down below to the channel who actually, you know what, before we get to that, I'm sure because if you follow DOA, and we're going to do an update. So basically it sounds like he's still working on, I think, getting his van out. I think there's another clip that I have in here when they were actually at the police station trying to get his stuff. So we're going to kind of get into that. But it was just so beautiful. I don't know if you guys were watching. I stayed up way too late last night and then got up super early this morning and was just trying to catch as many of the different streams and what was being said and just the joy of the whole thing. There was so much happiness last night. And there's going to be, I just cannot wait to see what comes. If you have not heard this, I wanted to share D.O.A'S song. He actually has a theme song. I know that is not a surprise, but I wanted to share a little bit of that here. You guys hear it?
Often he's the subject of the convict rants. D.O.A, the defender of ants. Pedos see him coming and they shit their pants. He been the main subject
hold
of
on a
many
second.
YouTube rants. He beat the
Can
charge.
you pause this and get it back up here? It's so great. I've heard it before on his stream, and thankfully, a couple people sent it to me because I had not heard the whole thing, and I'm just going to play a part of it. But it's such a fun song. It's such a fun song. All right, so let's do this again. It's called the DOA Funk Song. All right, I got to back it up now. Check it out.
He's the king of content, proves it every day. Defender of ants. Often he's the subject of the convict rants. D.O.A, the defender of ants. Pedos see him coming and they shit their pants. He been the main subject of many YouTube rants. He beat the charge in the courtroom for growing some plants.
I just love it. I love it so much. I love it so much. And there's a link down below so you can go ahead and listen to the whole thing. It's on his other channel, Streamer Wars. And some people in the chat are saying that he did get his van. I didn't see confirmation of that, but multiple people are saying it. So we'll go with that for now, that he got his van, which is great. He's still working on getting his phone. I believe he's going to go out tomorrow to get that. We're going to pop over to a stream, and I think this is from Scientology Audit Streets LA. Ooh, which, by the way, you guys, darn it, why didn't I get a clip of this? I always forget to clip my own stuff sometimes. I was totally fangirling because Scientology Audit Streets LA. Actually, I was talking to Nancy, one of the mods, and she showed me, and he did a great shout out for the channel. We had Jessica Palmadessa on last night for an interview, and I was totally fangirling. I'll admit it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I can't believe I don't have a clip of that. I need to find it. If somebody knows where it is, send me a clip. Otherwise, I'll go ahead and I'll find that. But in the meantime, let's pop over to that stream when they went over to the police station to try to get his stuff. And they had gone to dinner. I think they went to Denny's and everybody ate. I can only imagine how crappy the food has to be in jail. So here is D.O.A Defender of Ants, Scottie, and other protesters and live streamers at, I think this is the Hollywood PD location where they were going to try to get his stuff.
Seriously. It's one toilet, like 60 cents you guys, man. Sharing toilet, like.
And he's sharing about the experience of being in the jail, one toilet for like 60 people.
I've never seen anything like it, man. People just laying on the floor, and it's like all hot mess. We were in there, we got there at like 6 in the morning, and we were there for 13 hours. Like it's just metal benches and oh, in a dungeon. Like, yeah, it is. I've been in a few bullpens, and that one is one of a
As
kind.
bad as it gets.
Yeah, one of a kind.
Third world country type deal.
Yeah, for real. Turn it off.
What's amazing to me is just look at the smile on his face. You know, he just been through 5 days in jail and this is sharing about how horrible that experience was and what the conditions were like. But how do you not have, I mean, just so much joy because he is out, and all this is going to do is light a fire under more people to join these protests against Scientology, to raise awareness about Scientology and why it's a cult. And it's only strengthening the determination of people and the protesters and live streamers who are there right now. And last night as well, Scientology Audit Streets LA started fundraising for JASIAH, who was the first one to be arrested that night. He was taken and being held for allegedly making terroristic threats against Patrick Perry, who's the man with the dog who attacked multiple protesters. And Patrick Perry himself attacked Aaron Smith Levin. And we all know what happened there. It was Aaron ended up being detained/arrested. Because in true LAPD style, they seem to like to arrest the victim. And so he was still in jail. So Scientology Audit Streets LA, William Good, it was amazing last night. He was fundraising to help get him out. And some of you may or may not know, JASIAH was involved in the protest, and then he kind of pulled away from it. And he did say quite a bit of not very nice stuff about the group. But William Good, with the encouragement of his mom, which was super cute, he said, you know, I'm not in the business of giving up on young people. And he raised money for not just for D.O.A, but also for JASIAH for his bail, which, as I understand it, he will be getting out. Was it this morning? It's all blending together now. And I know William was saying that he wasn't sure if he could be there when he got out, but he was going to make sure that he got the money that was raised for him, and, you know, we try to hook him up that way. And I thought that was such an inspiring thing to do, because it would have been so easy to just say, well, you know, he said all this stuff and he did these things, said these things about the group. But it just really goes to show the difference between these protesters and live streamers and what Scientology would do. There is forgiveness and acceptance and grace in this group, and we see it over and over and over again. We see it in the way that they support each other. It truly is amazing. It's just amazing to me, and it's so beautiful. And here, William actually does give a little bit of an update on getting D.O.A'S phone and also on JASIAH. So let's just hear it straight from him here.
Will anybody being waiting for JASIAH? When JASIAH leaves, he has to walk across the street to the bail bonds place to sign his papers. And if it's hard to say if I will be there or not. But I will, once they said they'll call me to notify me, and I'll put him in an Uber to his house, and then in the morning I'll meet up with him and give him his money. And what happened to D.O.A'S phone? It was seized by the cops as evidence, and he has to get it released. It'll be about tomorrow morning. Am I going to do something big for my 50th? I mean, if the Church of Scientology is still around, I'll be protesting in front of there. But by August, they might not be around.
Love that. We got to remember that Streets is turning 50 in August. Somebody make note. There needs to be a big sell. Well, I'm sure there will be. I'm sure there will be. So that's what was happening over at the courthouse, not the courthouse, I'm sorry, at the police station when they were working on getting his stuff. Many of the other live streamers and protesters were there as well, showing their support and just so happy that he was out, and also looking for information on when JASIAH was going to get out. It was just a beautiful night. I got to say, it just was. Which is why I stayed up way too late. You guys tell me in the chat in the comments, what did you think about the whole night? What was your favorite part? If you're catching this on the replay, participate and jump into the comments. Let me know where you're watching from and what you think and what your questions are. Okay, we're going to jump over now to JD Delay, who he's got over 500,000 followers here on YouTube. And I love that he's calling out Scientology. He's calling out Scientology as a cult. You can tell that he's learning more about Scientology. And I just absolutely love that he is sharing about it. So let's give a little look and a listen here.
Very limited amount of people that are outside of the church. He's been friends with John Travolta for years. Church of Scientology steps in. He becomes a part of that church. All of a sudden, he has limited access to his people outside of the church, which is crazy to me. Like, that's how much of a cult the Church of Scientology is. People like him, Tom Cruise, Danny Masterson, they're in a bubble, bro, a vortex of Scientology and Scientology people. So they have this bar where a lot of them hang out. It's like a Scientology bar per se. And these are the people that he was victimizing, people within his own church, because he knew that the Church of Scientology was going to cover him. You don't make a complaint to the police if you're a Scientologist on somebody who's a fellow Scientologist without going to the Church of Scientology. They don't allow it. So these women would come forward and the church would be like, we'll handle it internally. And all they did was suppress it. They didn't allow these women to go and report these crimes like they needed to go and report these crimes. The church held these victims back.
Yep, they did. That is so the truth. And I love that he's raising awareness like this, because he has a very large audience, and that's different. That's what's so great about when different creators in different areas are picking this up and are talking about it and are sharing about it and are calling it out. Plus, you guys know that one of my new favorite genres is prison talk. Are these creators who have turned their lives around, are helping other people, inspiring them in their sobriety, and even doing things. I've been learning more about him and the stuff that he does in the community as well. And I think it's fantastic. And my hope is that more of them bring up the tie, not just about Danny Masterson, but the role that Scientology played in what happened, the role that Scientology played in the cover-up, and the role that Scientology continues to play. I love that that's being brought up and more attention is coming to that. Now, Jessica Palmadessa, I had her on my channel last night for an interview. Absolutely love her. I think it's amazing what she's doing. If you did not catch that, put that on your watch list too for today and check it out. She shared, and I'm going to share it with you guys. There was a post that was on Nextdoor that is very telling, because you know that you guys know what's been happening, what happened outside of La Poubelle. And there were so many patrons coming out and smacking phones and assaulting protesters just right off the bat. It was, and I remember watching it thinking, why so combative? Why are they doing that? And lo and behold, check this out. So this is from Alma Flores. This was posted to Nextdoor. Jessica Palmadessa went and tweeted it. And someone sent it to me and I shared it on my community page. And Alma says, I've been into La Poubelle, and the workers and owners have told many, including my party, to start problems with the protesters so they can call police on them. Of course, we refused. Only in there for a bit, but you can tell the owner is doing everything possible to get them in trouble for her wrongdoings. Look into it and stop blaming and accusing them of false information. The people in there are intoxicated and are only doing the dirty work for the owner. This is wrong. Completely agree. But how telling is that? Because that is what we saw. We saw them coming out of there and being, and, whacking phones and doing exactly that. Doing exactly that. So, conspiracy much? I mean, pot kettle? You want to be all like, oh, these people over here, these protesters are conspiring for blah, blah, blah. Yet here, the owners and the employees, per this at La Poubelle, are conspiring to create these situations. The exact thing that they accuse the protesters of doing in the media as well, of trying to start something, they were doing. And now we have somebody who has come forward and who has shared that that is actually true, that that's what was happening in La Poubelle. That's what they were telling their patrons to do. They were conspiring. Sounds like a conspiracy, doesn't it? Oh, I just love how they always just want to accuse somebody else of what they are doing. That is right out of the Scientology playbook, the L. Ron Hubbard playbook. And you know what? I bet, I'm going to speculate here, that it's actually Scientology who's been advising the owners of how to handle this. Because they're handling it. They're not. They've just been making it worse. Now, there's a link down below to this. I thought this was great because it's a great way you can support the protest against the Church of Scientology from home. And there's so many people that want to help, that cannot go out there and protest and want to do something. So I wanted to share this. There's a link down below to the whole thing. It's really short, but goes ahead and tells you how to support the protest movement, how to contact your local U.S. congressional representative, gives you an example of a couple of questions to ask, which I think is super helpful. And it's actually a video. I'm playing it right now. And you can make those questions your own. And then it goes ahead and gives the link where you can find your representative as well. Link down below to this so you can find it and reach out to your representatives and ask these questions. And thank you. Thank you to the creator who put this out. Link down below to their channel if you want to go ahead and support them. I really appreciated it. And I love that. For me, this is a beautiful thing. As someone who spent 35 years in Scientology and had 3 generations of my family victimized by this cult. But not anymore, huh? Because now here we are, because we came back. Me and my kids. And guess what? My kids grew up and they're right here with me, speaking out against Scientology and sharing their experiences. Early on in my channel, my daughter Shelby came on. We did a couple of videos. We are going to do more. Same thing with my sister Lana. My sister Lana was in the Sea organization. She was trafficked into it at the age of 14. She's going to be sharing more. She's just been traveling. That girl's been traveling. She's back home in Hawaii right now, seeing our other sister and family. But when she comes back, I'm going to have her on the channel again, and we're going to talk more about that. Over in Chicago, Shannon was over there, linked down below to her channel. And, curious, come in, all are welcome. This is the message that Scientology continues to put out. Yet anytime somebody tries to walk in there, if you have a camera, and I get it. I mean, of course, they don't want people recording in there because they have a lot to hide and they don't want their members showing up on video where people are going to be like, wait a minute, that's my uncle who's been missing. Wait a minute, that's my dad. That's my cousin. That's my daughter. And see that. So you'll see, especially with Sea organization members, they work really hard to not be seen on camera because of this reason. So we're going to take a little look at this. Chicago. Oh, wait, hold on a second. I'm going to back it up here. Hold on. And there's a lot going on in Chicago too. We've seen, Shannon and Trashy V12 BMW shares a lot as well. And they have found some crazy things in the garbage outside too, which shows, unfortunately, how Scientology is marketed to children, including their purification rundown, their sauna program, which people take dangerous levels of niacin. Here you go.
the movie?
No, sorry.
No, I can't watch it. It says everyone welcome.
Yeah, but I know what you're here for, so.
Can
you please get
What's your name?
out of the property?
Oh, hi. I thought my house was a church.
It is, yeah, absolutely.
I can't come in and visit your church?
No, because you're not here to really learn about it.
How do you know?
Because I know what you do.
What do I do?
What do I do? No comment. That woman is a Sea Organization member. Could you see the belt buckle with the logo on it? And you'll see this at a lot of different organizations because Scientology has been contracting for some time now. And there aren't a ton of new people coming in. They're really relying heavily on the second and third generation in Scientology families, and then with what little new people they can get in. So they don't have people to work at these different smaller organizations all over the place. So they often send members of the Sea Organization to go out there and work and get it done, I guess. But part two of why they don't want people in there videoing and showing their faces, because there's so many Sea Organization members in there right now who are running these organizations and trying to expand them. And they think they're the only ones in their area where Scientology is small, but it's actually that way everywhere. We see that even where they have these ideal organizations in these big, beautiful, empty buildings. Now we're going to pop over to Clearwater. This is Lori Plays. She spit Clearwater, surrounded by Scientology, Feral Cheryl, Magic Mike, Aaron from growing up in Scientology. They've been out there. Relatable Reese was on a trip recently and she was out there. And this is actually really funny because Lori captures, this is a sign. This is a sign. I think it's a sign. But watch this.
Oh my gosh, you guys, look. The Squirrel Squad is here in Clearwater. It's a sign.
Yeah, oh, she made a dash
I don't know if I'm the only one that thought that was so funny. Maybe. Am I laughing by myself? If I am, it's okay. Oh, it killed me. Good. Okay, I'm glad you guys think it's funny too. I thought that was so funny and so perfect. Lori just happened to capture that. There was this lady, I think she was a Sea Org member, who was locked out of the flag building as per usual. She was out there for an uncomfortable length of time. And then boom, the squirrel shows up right there, so close to. You can tell that thing is fed because it didn't seem to be too scared. And we've all become very fond of squirrels because Scientology labels people who either practice Scientology outside of their purview where they're not getting a cut, or people who, what they say, alter Scientology. And because many of the protesters share about Xenu and other things that are confidential in Scientology, they're referred to as squirrels, because that's what L. Ron Hubbard called these people, was squirrels. And everybody has just embraced it, completely embraced it and taken it on. And it is, and as an ex-Scientologist, I love that, because the word squirrel had such a negative connotation in Scientology. And now I feel like it's been restored, and I just love squirrels in all kinds of different ways. I think it's fabulous. I absolutely love it. Let's talk about Australia, because these live streaming Scientology protests are expanding. And we got a little look at some things starting off in Perth, Australia. So let's take a look at this.
This is the Church of Scientology in Western Australia. It was built as an ideal org 5 years ago in the hope of attracting more members. There's been a very steep decline of numbers since the 80s. The org is in the middle of an industrial estate. There's no foot traffic, and it's currently estimated that there's only 150 members here. This is another example of mismanagement and a waste of tax-exempt money. Can I take a leaflet? And do personality test.
Hey, how you going? We're just curious. Sorry, we're filming. Is that okay?
Sorry, no.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you do like media tours and stuff like that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, no worries. Yeah.
So polite, the Australians. These little, did you see the small sign? There's a sign that basically says you cannot film inside and they reserve the right to kick your butt to the curb. I mean, okay, I'm paraphrasing. It doesn't exactly say that, but that's the message. We're seeing those outside of many Scientology organizations. And I think that's new. I think that's new since these protests have started. It's part of their sign tech. So they got curtain tech, blind tech, sign tech, manure tech outside Celebrity Center where there's making a moat of manure. I don't know if they're still doing that, but I wouldn't doubt that they are. And it's interesting to see these signs popping up saying, you know, you can't record and we have the right to kick you out. Very so friendly. On one hand, it says everyone is welcome. On the other hand, don't record, don't come in, and we have the right to kick your butt to the curb. Very mixed messaging, Scientology. Very mixed messages. It's very confusing. It's like being in a relationship with like an abusive relationship. Go figure, right? I love you. I hate you. I love you. I hate you. Come with me. Leave. Come with me. Leave. It's nuts. Nuts, nuts, nuts. Okay. This weekend, so much going on in Austin. Scientology is opening their new ideal organization building. Even though we all doubt they have enough staff to run the place, Pearl Snappy has been there. She's there. She's there. She's there. She's doing her thing. And she was there yesterday and singing her songs, doing her thing, getting harassed at times by Scientology. But this was funny. So you can see they're starting to set up because they are going to have a stage. They're going to have seats. They're shutting down streets. I haven't found out from her in what got approved or not with the permit that Scientology was applying for, but this is all part of their staging and getting set up. And she's already out there doing her thing. Let's take a look and a listen.
Yes, I want to make sure that they can hear me. Can you hear me, Scientology? You creepy child trafficking cult.
Yes, you got it.
They're opening the 24th. Come troll them with us.
Come help us.
Wait, thank you so much. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Why would they do that? Because they're getting it.
I love how she educates people about Scientology.
Yep.
Yeah, spread the word. Don't let any of your
The
friends
org
get
will
in it.
provide the meat. The org will provide the meat. You just have to bring your credit cards, your bank statements, your 401k, and of course, your children.
The org will provide the meat. And I think that comes from early on where I think she shared a leaked video of something they were doing that was a potluck. And the whole thing was the org will provide the meat. And it's extra funny because in Scientology, this is, okay, it's actually not really funny. It's kind of creepy and gross, but it's kind of funny because they call new people in Scientology, I am not kidding, raw meat. That's what Scientology staff members refer to new people not in Scientology that they're bringing in as raw meat. Raw meat. It's so gross. So then when they on top of it are like, Scientology will bring the meat, it just adds to the weirdness. It totally does. I mean, who calls potential parishioners raw meat? It just says it all. And they don't hide this either. This was a common thing. This is a great example of something that I grew up with in Scientology, and I didn't see it as being weird that they called people raw meat. Oh, there's how much raw meat did you get in this week? Oh, Bob got like 3 raw meat in. I would hear it, but it didn't really impact me the way that it does today because now 13 years out of Scientology, and I'm really, my eyes continue to be open to how culty so many of these things were. And it also depersonalizes an individual. So if you're a Scientology recruiter and you just see raw meat, not an individual, not a person, it's easier to manipulate them and gaslight them into thinking that they need Scientology because that's their recruitment tactic to get you in for a personality test to show you how messed up you are and that Scientology can handle that or have you watch one of their many creepy films and then sit you down, and they do what's called ruin finding. They find your ruin. Scientology recruiters are trained on how to do this. We should do a demo of that sometime. They're trained on how to find somebody's ruin. I haven't done it in forever, but there's a sequence of drills. They even train Scientologists who are what's called field staff members in Scientology to do this, so that they can recover Scientologists who have fallen away and get them back into the fold by finding their ruin. It's super manipulative, super manipulative. Just because I love it so much, we're going to look at this. We're going to look at this one more time.
Yeah! 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 Hey, D.O.A! 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 D.O.A!
Oh. Last night I was watching this. I had like a stream on the television, a stream on my computer. I had my phone going, and it was an intense day because we were waiting all day for him to be released. I'm also like trying to do, work and do my job, but it just, how could you not think about this? I was just like finding myself needed to take several deep breaths throughout the day. And even when I was watching, I had to light in fact, I got this cool Coven Curiosities candle company. Thank you. I think it's Rochelle who sent me this. It's very calming. So last night I was all about the candle. And early this morning when I started working, I made sure I need to light the calming candle. It's just so great. Now, let's get into a couple of questions and comments here. And remember to hit that subscribe button because we are playing the birthday game here. In Scientology, if you don't know, staff members and Scientologists are forced to play the birthday game where they get their statistics straight up and vertical for L. Ron Hubbard. And my gift, our gift in our community to L. Ron Hubbard, to Scientology, to David Miscavige, is to grow this channel to 20,000 subscribers by March 13th. Just for shits and giggles, because I know how much they hate it. They hate Scientology. One of the most dangerous things, one of the biggest threats to Scientology are people forming community outside of Scientology. They work super hard to put a stop to that within Scientology. In the Sea organization, and in Scientology, they will break up marriages, they will break up families, in an effort to hold on to whoever they can hold on to. They will pit people against each other. If your marriage, Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, she was pulling away from Scientology. She didn't want anything to do with it. Look what happened. Scientology played a key role in not just breaking up that marriage, but in turning their children, against their mother and saying that she's a suppressive person and that whole thing. So Scientology cannot stand when we create community and when we come together and we help each other and we try to do it with kindness and with love in our heart. And yeah, there's disagreements at times. Not everybody's going to agree, and there can be heightened emotions. They cannot stand it when we still come together despite that. Think about what what Scottie was doing right before he got picked up. He started doing videos. He started doing interviews with smaller channels to elevate them, to introduce them to his audience, to raise their voices, to make it so that they could reach more people with this message of what Scientology is doing. He was building community. That is a big threat to Scientology to be doing that. What they want to do is paint people who are speaking out against Scientology as being evil, suppressive people who don't want the betterment, who don't want to help anybody, who don't want any of that, that we're just, not pro people. Yet we see over and over again how people not in Scientology, how people who are protesting and live streaming are actually the opposite, are helping each other, are standing up for each other, and are trying to build community and give voices to people who are just getting started in this movement. And I think it's a beautiful thing. Nance Drew, thank you so much. Thanks. Thank you for working so hard for these AMs. I stayed up way too late watching it, and shows your dedication getting up so early to do this. Thank you. I know last night like I said, I was sitting, I was watching the whole thing from bed. Tony had already he'd fallen asleep. And I'm surprised I didn't wake him up with all my hooting and hollering and yelling at the television as I like to do. But he got caught up this morning. Power lies to paralyze. Thank you. Isolation is standard tech. Exactly. That is a key tool in Scientology that they use is they'll try to separate somebody. They did it all the time with married couples, especially when if there was a married couple where back in the day when I was in the Sea organization, and my husband at the time, I became pregnant, and there was a huge amount of pressure for me to end my pregnancy, and we didn't want to, and we didn't. So we were punished by being sent to, this was their form of punishment, but really it just helped me get closer to leaving the Sea organization. We were sent to Seattle. That's what their whole idea was. You were being punished by being sent to a smaller failing Scientology organization. It's ridiculous. Carrie, a question. Is it bad that I stay up past midnight just so I can get the SPTV news? No, it is not. Especially right now when there's just so many things that are going on. April in Amsterdam. Hey, D.O.A is compassionate. He mainly wanted to talk about JASIAH needing to get out. That is very true. That's very true. When Jacob Harkey, he spoke to D.O.A, I think it was like within the first few days of him being in jail. D.O.A, one of Scottie's big thing was, hey, JASIAH's here too, and here's what's being said of why he's being held, and he needs help as well. And when Scottie left and he was told about the amount of money that was collected, he talked about wanting to get some of that to LA Cam and to Danny for their legal defense. The hope is that logically, you would think that those, being that the charges against Scottie, against D.O.A were dropped, that the charges against LA Cam and Danny, that the same would follow. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on that. Their court date is March 13th, which again is L. Ron Hubbard's birthday and Danny Masterson's birthday, and the day by which I'm trying to get this channel, we are, to 20,000 subscribers. Because Scientology will hate it. They'll hate it so much. They hate this. They hate community. They hate that I come out here and rah and share these things, and that we are sharing these messages and the level of how they're expanding and just the cool things too that are coming out of it, the relationships that are being formed, you know, the friendships. And it's a movement where it's just that. It's a movement. People are doing their own thing. But the level that they're being supportive of each other is such a beautiful thing. Asen, it is such a contrast and so heartwarming to see the stark difference exactly between the love and camaraderie among them and the snitch culture of the cult of Scientology. Scientology snitch culture is next level. This is why when I had finally decided, the moment from when I decided, I don't care what it takes, I'm leaving Scientology. I want to leave with my family, but if I can just get out with my kids and that's it, then that's what it would be. Because I wasn't sure that if my husband at the time would stay. I spent 2 years executing a plan to get my family out as together as I could. That's why it took so long from the moment where I decided, which if you've been with me on my channel, you know, I decided when I was in a mall shooting in Seattle, hiding in the back of a Journey store, and I realized, oh my gosh, if something happened to me today, I've had like no freedom. I'd been born and raised, not born, I was raised in Scientology. My mom married a Scientologist when I was 5. And at that moment back there, when I was down on the floor, thought, I don't care what it takes. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I want my freedom. I want to live a life. I want to do things that are my own choosing. I want to figure out who I am. And it took about 2 years, and I was able to leave with my immediate family. I have some family members by marriage who are still there and being threatened if they speak to me. It's ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. Fizzy saying that the bail bond has been paid. Yay. And JASIAH's brother signed for it. They just thought it would take until tomorrow this morning to get him out. Ah, okay. That's fantastic. And again, this was money that was raised that you guys contributed through Scientology Audit Streets LA. It's just so beautiful. Woodstock here. D.O.A was so giddy about all the support he got. Truly. And you know, I had like R.U. Jellin is one of his mods, and she had reached out and said, thank you for everything you're doing to share about DOA and share his links and all that. And I said, you know what? He would do not just the same thing, he would do more. I don't doubt that at all. April in Amsterdam, I think it was OSA trying to keep DOA from Austin too. Austin needs to be swarmed. Go Pearl Snappy. Yes, that was something that I thought about as well, because he was going to go to Austin. Do you remember that? And help. And when these ideal organizations open, it's usually with David Miscavige, who's there. And for weeks now, DOA's van that says Scientology is a cult, in not just in English, but also in Spanish, has been parked outside those blue buildings. He's been protesting. He's been a thorn in the side of Scientology. And I can just hear little David Miscavige saying, put him in jail. I don't want him in Austin. Do what it takes. And I'm with you. I think so too. I think it had a lot to do with the fact that he was also going to be going to Austin. Osa is watching. William's mother brought up a kind, caring son. To forgive and forget is one thing, but to bail someone out that said such terrible stuff about you is such a compassionate act. Yes. This is why I think what William Good is doing, not just in raising awareness and exposing Scientology and the LAPD, he's educating young people, I want to call them all kids because I'm old enough to be their mom, who are out there protesting and live streaming on what their rights are, but also showing this example of exactly that, because that's what happened. JASIAH said a lot of really crappy things about him. And look what he did. He, like he said, he's not in the business of giving up on young people. Oh, it's so touching. Victoria Miles, thank you so much for the super chat. Process servers? Anyone? Process servers? Anyone? Anyone want to come and serve somebody, especially on a full moon? What? Is it a full moon this weekend? Is it? Somebody tell me in the chat or in the comments, because how fitting is that? How fitting is that? Because again, what we have happening is we have Austin opening on Saturday, Pearl Snappy, and a ton of other people going to be there. And we're going to be checking in with her. My plan on Saturday is to be live streaming and connecting with different protesters and live streamers in Austin and also in California, in Hollywood. In fact, this evening, probably around 5:30 my time, I'll get out a notification for sure on the time. I'm going to be chatting with Liz Ferris and hopefully a few other people who are heading out to Hollywood to protest this weekend, who are other SPTV creators. So keep an eye out, hit the notification bell as well, so you get the notification for that. CMBR, yes, DARVO is an acronym standing for Deny, Attack, Reverse Victim, and Offender Cult Behavior. 100%. 100%. That's why I was saying I think Scientology is advising La Poubelle on how to handle the protesters by telling their patrons to go out there and stir up trouble and entice violence. That's exactly what they did. And then they turned around and accused the protesters of doing that. So it's so on brand for Scientology. If nothing else, I guess we can be thankful that Scientology is predictable, because we know the L. Ron Hubbard playbook for public relations that he wrote back in the 50s and 60s. It didn't help then, and it's not helping now. Because remember, this is the same organization, Scientology, that infiltrated the United States government, one of the largest infiltrations of the United States government in the history of the United States. Scientology infiltrated 136 government entities. And then they were raided by the FBI, which was one of the biggest raids that the FBI ever did. This all happened into the mid to late 70s. Fast forward to 93 though, and somehow they get this tax exempt status after exhausting the IRS, after over 1,100 individual lawsuits that they had members bring against the IRS. And it's been talked about and speculated that there was some blackmail brought in as well. Wouldn't put that past them either. And they get to tax exempt status. What the heck? What the heck? Which is why earlier there's a clip, there's a link down below on how you can reach your representative, how you can find out who it is, and to ask them, where are you at? Where do you stand on a hearing to look into Scientology's tax exempt status? Do you know about it? Are you aware of the abuses? Are you aware of the FBI raid? Are you aware of all of these things? And to be able to just expose this. So keep at it, people. Keep doing that. That's definitely something anybody can do, and you can do it from home as well. And I love that about this movement. There are so many different people, all of you here, people who are there protesting from different backgrounds, all kinds of different places, people who are at home, who are sharing, who are reaching out to their representatives. You can email me at Natalie@lifeafteraccult.com. Because if you see something, say something. Send me the links, clips, timestamps. Tell me what I'm looking at when you see Scientology news around the internet or here on YouTube. Because again, I like to talk about what people are talking about. And it's very evident at times, especially when I have people send me something, when so many people send the same thing. Lorraine, yes, JD DeLay is brilliant too. I agree. I have fast become a fan of his. And oh my gosh, people. I hope that JD DeLay and Aaron from Growing Up in Scientology do a video together. I will just die. I will so fangirl because, and they've been chatting. They've been in each other's chats on the live chat. So I've been watching, and I've even commented you should do a video with Aaron. So I bet they are going to do it. I would love to see that so much. So much. So much. Victoria, thank you so much. I find it says there's no one else that covered drugged some of his people for controlling them. And then later on, Charles Manson did the same thing. I find it says there's no one else that covered drugged some of his people for confronting them. And then later on, Charles Manson did the same thing. So you're saying Charles Manson did the same thing with drugging his people? That's interesting. But thank you, Victoria. Thank you very much for that. Really, truly appreciate it. And Lorraine, I'm with you. It makes me angry that the protesters' assaults on them isn't taken seriously by LAPD. Even last night, whilst Danny made report, you could see they couldn't care less. So wrong. Yes, Danny was making a report at the Hollywood PD station of what happened when the woman came out of La Poubelle. This is what led to Danny being arrested and sent to jail. When she came out, and now we've seen it. We saw the Nextdoor post. So we know that the staff and the owners of La Poubelle were asking their patrons, including the woman who bravely came forward and shared that on Nextdoor, hey, go out and cause trouble so that we can get them in trouble, so that we can call the police. All very orchestrated. Conspiracy much? Pat Kettle. CMBR, yes, independent squirrels make an awesome crew. Agree. It's such a great movement. And more people are just going to continue to come out and share about and raise awareness. Powered lies to paralyzed. Manson family had e-meters at the ranch. Really? I did not know that. Ooh, that's creepy. I know there was a tie between Charles Manson and Scientology. And didn't he even end up calling it a cult? Which is crazy, right? But yeah, same thing with, I've shared with you guys the story about when I was a child, when I was 10 years old. It was 1980 in Hawaii. My mom was on staff. Nobody was watching us. My sister and I used to go out and we would make drawings and try to sell them to make money for candy. And we weren't allowed to do that in the org because it was competing with Scientology business. We were kids just trying to make candy money. So we would go across the street and sell them to a security guard, and which resulted in my family being temporarily banned from Scientology because my mom was what's called a body router in Scientology, where she would bring people in to do personality tests. So I had always heard her spiel about doing a personality test. So the security guard, Mark, I was like, hey, come do a personality test when we would see him, because he actually did buy our drawings that we were making. Well, it turns out that Mark was Mark David Chapman, who then that year, in fact, not long after, flew to New York and killed John Lennon, which made the FBI take another look at Scientology. He worked right across the street in Hawaii from the Scientology organization. And I still don't know how they found out about us going back and forth. But my point is, Scientology has a long history of, well, actually what happened was before he went to New York, he did go into the Scientology organization in Hawaii, and he went off on them and called them a cult, which again, it's like when people like Mark David Chapman and Charles Manson are calling you a cult. I mean, how culty do you need to be? And from there, he went and he murdered John Lennon. And then it started this investigation. Remember, it was 1980, which is just a couple years after L. Ron Hubbard's wife and multiple other people in Scientology were convicted of this infiltration into the United States government. So Scientology was very much like, ooh, we don't want the FBI anywhere near us. And that's why my mom got in trouble, because somehow they got it into their head. Well, okay, technically, as a child, did I invite Mark David Chapman into the Scientology organization? Yes. I didn't know. Again, I was 9, 10 years old. So, but yeah, that's what happened. That is what happened. Jennifer, thank you so much. So love this SP family. Just putting it out. Free mama love for all SPs. Oh, that's super sweet. I love that. I absolutely love that. Pearl Snappy, tell us more about this. Did you see the cameras on me yesterday? I need to finish your whole video, Pearl Snappy, but if you've got a couple clips in there from that, or if somebody does and you want to send them to me, Natalie@lifeafteraccult.com, that's super helpful. I try to catch as many things as I can, but there's so much happening. It helps a ton when you send those timestamps. Carrie, LOL, Reese will definitely want to talk with you about this, Natalie. About this? You got to tell me which this. About her Clearwater trip? That'd be great. Reese was one of the first people that I reached out to when I started doing this, about doing a live stream together. I'm still waiting for her to take me up on it. So I hope that she does. Good morning, Liz Ferris. So great to see you here. Liz, like I was saying, is heading out to Los Angeles to protest Scientology. And she and I are going to be chatting this evening and talking about it, and hopefully with a few other people that are going as well, to kind of chat about what to expect. And if you'll remember, Liz Ferris and her crew had a short-term rental lined up, which all of a sudden became unavailable. Why? I'm sure it had nothing to do with the fact that they were going to be protesting Scientology. Did a Scientologist own the house? Or I don't know, but it was awfully suspicious. Lorraine, yes, that squirrel made me laugh. It's a sign. And that was in Clearwater. If you missed that clip, you got to go down. It's from Lori Plays, where the squirrel shows up. It's like, cue the squirrel. It was perfect timing. It was divine. It absolutely was. And I do think it was a sign, and a wonderful one at that. A wonderful one. That's right, Laurie. Laurie Plays is here. Squirrels are always a sign. I agree. They're really becoming quite the mascot. I am still in the market for a squirrel onesie. I think I need to get some for myself and for my Tony as well. I love a good onesie. I love the comfort. It's a bummer when you go to the bathroom and you have to take everything off, but the comfort level, and if it has pockets, oh, be still my heart. A onesie with pockets. Now you're talking about love language. I love to be comfortable so much, so much. Jilbo, oh, that's great. Natalie Reese has mentioned talking to you. She's traveling right now. Very cool. I cannot wait. Scientology does not know how to bother people quite well after all. You know what's funny about Scientology too is when they troll, and they'll troll in the comments, and they'll troll on all kinds of different things. And it's super cute. Super cute. Or as Aaron would say, that's adorable. You can tell because what they'll do is they try to push what they think your buttons are. And it's hilarious because they'll come at different creators with trying to bait them into responding to it or taking up what they're saying. And sometimes a troll is a troll and they're not Scientologists. They're just regular internet trolls. But you can tell the Scientology ones because they'll either try to bring up stuff like that because remember what they do is they put together a file, a folder, a binder, and it has what either they think that you would be embarrassed about, which usually in the outside world is something nobody gives a crap about, or things that they just think that you have a button on, and then they just try to push it. But the funny thing is it's just so out of date, or it's like they don't recognize that, especially when you leave Scientology. And I can only speak for myself, so I'm going to speak for myself. 13 years out of Scientology now. The first 10 years were definitely the roughest. The last few have been beautiful, just beautiful. I've honestly never been happier. And those buttons that they think that I have, I just don't have them. The power that I thought Scientology had over me, it's like the Wizard of Oz, like Dorothy. I had the power the entire time to go home. They only have, like anything, not just Scientology, right? If you feel something is just weighing on you, or somebody or something, you're giving them that power. You have to give it to them. You have to let go of it. And when you stop doing that and you recognize that, wow, guess what? One, I don't even have to respond to that. I don't even need to take it up. I never need to defend myself, especially to somebody who thinks those things. It's so powerful. And they get it so wrong. They really do. Sometimes I'm like, maybe I should help them out. What are my buttons today? So at least when they troll me, they could, like give it a good effort. But to be honest, I don't know. I don't know what they are. Lori, yes. Liz, watch yourself out there. Definitely. Definitely. And we're going to be talking when she's out there as well. Michael, yes. No longer have a reactive mind. We love that. We love that clear cognition too, that Pearl Snappy is always sharing. You've created your own reactive mind. I've created my own reactive mind, and I'm not going to do it anymore. You save people a lot of money with that. And if you think about it, it's really, if you don't believe in a reactive mind or see it the way Scientology does, that idea that we're often creating our own suffering by just continuing to spin in certain things, right? And you're not going to do that anymore. It's you're going to take action in a different direction. You're going to, get yourself some, whether it's counseling, therapy, philosophy, another religion, get some tools to deal with life. It's powerful. Susan, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really appreciate it. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. Asen, yes, thank you. I love watching people taking their power back. Aaron, just end of last year. It makes me happy. Yes, it is such a beautiful thing. And I really strongly feel that I think so many people are in a cult or have been in a cult. Maybe not a cult like Scientology, right? Maybe not an organized cult, but whether it's addiction, controlling relationships, high controlled groups, just where you've been manipulated and controlled by that. And when you take that power back and realize that you had it the whole time, but it takes what it takes to get us to the point where we recognize and decide that we're not going to do this anymore. And for me, when I left Scientology, there was so much that I continued to work through. I wish I would have learned more about cognitive behavioral therapy and other things like that sooner, because so much of that is what helped me to realize that I don't need to be one. It's okay. It's totally fine to be a victim, which is something you cannot be in Scientology. But what's even more powerful than that is recognizing that you don't need, it's like a bully, right? They can say sticks and stones, say what you're going to say. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? It's only powerful if I give into that, right? I don't need to play. I don't need to interact with the bully there or the troll or whoever it is. So I always encourage people, whatever that is in your life, take that power back. Whatever you need to find to help you, whatever those tools are for you, and for everybody it's different, do it, because it changes everything. And when we can change our thoughts, we change our attitude, we change the direction we're going in, and we change the outcome. That's what I found to be true. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, come back. I will get out a notification when Liz and I are going to be chatting, Liz Ferris and I. I'm super excited about that. Bring your questions, bring your advice, bring your 2 cents. And there's going to be a lot happening between now and the weekend, especially. especially. So I know that you guys will be here for it. I know I'm going to be here for it. We're going to be talking about it. I cannot thank you enough for your support, for the people who continue to subscribe to the channel, who continue to hit the like button, who continue to help elevate my voice as I try to also do that for other people as well. I love you guys. I appreciate it. Most of all, get out there and have the most amazing cult-free day.